this event with people that you trust, and of course invite them to the WhatsApp group if they're Jewish or allies. We do screen everybody that comes in, so just give a quick heads up to Michelle or myself if they're having trouble being let in. But we're very, very happy that this has gotten some momentum. So Dave and I, I'm a financial advisor. We've been in the financial industry for 13 years. My husband David joined me about a year and a half ago. Brought him over from...
Do you believe I'm working with my wife?
Yeah, from real estate.
That's cool.
And
That's cool.
we put up our core values because we really, really believe in, number one, well, I think the one that comes to mind here is adding value. So we're doing this to add value to the community, and we're really grateful for all of you showing up, because it's you that makes these events a success. So thank you. Give yourselves a clap. I'm going to turn it over to David in a moment, but
To
please,
me?
yeah, just kind of. Before you leave, after Alana speaks, there's a little goodie bag that we've prepared for everyone registered to take home.
Oh,
so
thank you.
don't run out without that, and return your name tag so you don't walk around with your name tag. I do that all the time. It's always fun to go to the grocery store and you still have your name tag on. But we're going to have an amazing, amazing speaker before that. But I'll let Dave do the introduction.
Okay.
Because I've been trying to get my tea for like an hour.
Thanks, Allison. Well, I think we're really honored to have Elena.
Alana.
I always get it wrong. Alana, you have a group of 15, right?
Yeah.
In 4 or 5 years, Alana has built a team of 15 therapists, an office, a real business. And I was just saying to Sean Samuel over there how hard it is to move from being a self-employed or sole proprietor to a business owner. It's very challenging to inspire other people, to have momentum, to create an environment that's welcoming for other people to join you, and to have a culture, where you can do that. And I think that's huge to do that. And I think it's something my wife and I are always working towards, to get that freedom of, where's the freedom of time? Create freedom. I think that's the only way you can really create freedom in life, is to make that jump to a true business owner. So, I'll let you take it away. Is there anything else you wanted me to say, Allison?
Maybe just a couple of community announcements, and then we'll turn over to
I think we can
Alana.
do that at the end. We can do the announcements after.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
I'm gonna turn it over. Here we go. You're up.
Thank you, and thank you for putting up those core values, because they give me good ideas. So thanks for having me. Like David said, yes, I started my career, well actually the first phase of my career I worked for Vancouver Coastal Health, Public Health, and then I turned 40 and I realized one day I was going to die, and I didn't want to die working for the government. And then so I was a solo practitioner for quite a long time, and I'm going to start this spiel at a point in time that I think everybody is going to be familiar with. For some people, it was the beginning of the end. For some people, it was the end of the beginning. For me, it was the beginning of the beginning, and that is March 2020. In March 2020, I had been a solo practitioner for about 5 years. I had left my job. I had an office in South Granville. I saw people in person. I rode my bike to my clinic every day, saw people in person with a cup of tea in my hand, rode my bike home. And I truly thought that I was living the dream, and I was living the dream. I thought my life was great. If somebody had asked me then, on March 5th maybe, what my career would look like when I retired, I would have said, I'm just gonna do this until I like lose my marbles. Like, I'm gonna do this as long as I can. Maybe taper off and travel, but like, why wouldn't I do this until the end of days? And I meant it. And it was a great life, and it was a great therapist, and it was a really good career. And then the pandemic happened. And for a few moments, I wondered, is this the end of my career? I mean, who's gonna wanna do therapy by video? On March 14th, I emailed my entire caseload, anyone who had ever seen me, and told them I was going online. It was an extremely apologetic email. I said, we'll find each other in person in a couple weeks, but for now we have to do this. And I truly thought that was it. I have done online therapy before, like in a snowstorm, or if somebody had like pneumonia, and it was usually on Skype, and it involved a lot of false starts and interruptions, and I just thought, well, it's the end of that. I'm gonna have to go back to work at VGH again. But in fact, my industry exploded during COVID. Everybody wanted to be in therapy for good reasons. Everybody wanted a therapist. Nobody had a problem with virtual therapy, and if they did, they got over it because they had to get over it. And I was working in my basement while my kids homeschooled themselves upstairs, and I got the first signs of like, what's my end game here? You know, I still loved the therapy. I believed deeply in the work, and really still do. I was doing good work. But I think, you know, somehow that interruption, my wait list was growing. I had always had, for years I had a wait list, but my wait list was growing and I didn't know where to send people. I had no idea like which therapists were still taking people, who was even good. Really didn't want to send people for mediocre therapy. And at a certain point, I was like, I remember waking up and being like, oh, I don't want to do this today. And it wasn't therapy. I think it was the turnstile of like client after client after client, not having the culture, the colleagues, the touch points during the day. And I remember thinking, you know, I've always been a very aspirational person in my career, but I've always sort of conceptualized myself as a bit of a worker bee. Like, so the model of exchanging dollars for hours worked pretty well for me because I was a hard worker, I was tireless, I had a huge capacity. But at around that time, I was like, this isn't sustainable. I was also 45, going through perimenopause. My kids were in preteen hellion years, and it really didn't feel sustainable. And it was like this epiphany that I had. The group practice or the clinic model was not new to me. I had seen people do it. I knew they existed. But in my mind, they existed as bricks and mortar practices that you had to invest thousands and thousands of dollars up front to start. And I'm a very low risk person. I'll talk in a moment about my CEO mindset, money mindset, but my money mindset was to like hoard my money and, not basically save everything that I didn't need, and that's it. That was pretty much the extent of my wealth building strategy. So I never thought that I would start a clinic because it just felt like too big of a risk. I didn't even know where to start. And I don't think in my mind I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to build a clinic. In my mind, I was like, you know what? I have so much overflow. This is the perfect time to reach out to that old friend of mine who I worked with at VGH, who was always burnt out and grumpy, but an excellent therapist, and see if she wants to take a few clients, and then we have a bit of a commission split. And she was delighted to, and then she was full. And then I added another person, all virtual, and they were full. Full meaning they had 5 clients. Full didn't mean like they had other things that they were doing. And I kept doing this, and at a certain point, I realized I wasn't really running a business. I was sort of giving people my sloppy seconds. Like I was answering the phone, I was emailing clients back, I was saying like, oh no, I'm so sorry, I can't see you. But you can see Christina, she's really good too. And so it's sort of that vibe was, that the practice was still centered around me, and I was kind of finding people. I felt like a matchmaker more than anything. And so I realized, I like bit by bit started to think about, like, really intentionally going from an accidental business owner to a really intentional business owner. And, you know, so I knew that I had to do certain things. I knew I needed to rebrand. I knew I could not be Allosaurus Counseling anymore. I had to be Open Space Counseling, which took me quite a while to come up with that name. I knew I needed a new website. I knew that I needed to maybe start marketing. I had never had to market. It was all through word of mouth. It was all through, like, you know, this naturopath, this midwife, this friend, this lawyer, this financial advisor. And I knew that I couldn't scale that way. And so for the first time, I was thinking, you know, there is a lot I don't know about running a business, and I felt like my superpower really lay in two areas. One, I was a great mentor. I could sniff out a good hire really well. I knew how to recruit the right people who would kind of, you know, who would be congruent with my core values, and who I could completely trust to send people to. Because the thing about therapy is it's a very self-monitoring profession. Like, you know, I'm not a fly in the wall in anybody's session, and I'm not a very good micromanager. So I knew I could only hire people who were just inherently excellent therapists. So I was good at that, and I was good at communicating. I was good at talking and writing and you know, kind of doing my own little marketing bit to the people in my orbit, but my reach was limited, and I still had that old school money mindset of being really scrappy and bootstrapping. We were working. This was maybe a year in, and we were all sharing my same office in South Granville. We were back in person by then. People started wanting in-person therapy. We were all sharing my office. There was a couple of blunders with double booking, awkward. And I realized a few things. One, I needed a new office. And then two, I wanted to keep growing. I needed an admin. I couldn't be the person answering all the emails. I felt like I was never free. I didn't have time wealth. I didn't have the freedom. I just had, yes, I had more business coming in, but I wasn't really enjoying the lifestyle that went along with that. So I did 3 things at that point that I think really tipped the balance, that took me from, like, kind of flying by the seat of my pants and winging it, which is my MO, to actually having a structure and having a business, like really feeling like a business owner. So one thing I did was I took everything out of my head and put it onto a Google Doc, and I called it Standard Operating Procedures. I still haven't managed to rename it. I'd love to come up with a bit catchier of a name, but that's what it is. And it was basically, because I was being asked the same question all the time, I was repeating myself, people were doing things wrong, and then I was getting annoyed, but then I realized I hadn't actually told them how things needed to be done. So I filmed myself explaining things. I talked about the first session, how to manage consultation calls, what to do when somebody's credit card had expired, like all of these things that I thought, well, of course people will know how to do these things, but you know what? Of course they don't know how to do those things. They're not intuitive things. So I did a brain dump, I organized it, it's a living document, I still add to it, it's like 22 pages now. The people who work for me grudgingly appreciate it, but it's been a game changer, because if somebody does dare to ask me a question that's in that manual, I just say, check the manual. Very pleasantly, oh, I believe that's in the manual. Did you check? I still have to do one of those for my household. And I'm not an organized person, by the way. So that was game changer number one. Game changer number two, I started paying for marketing. It wasn't enough just to have my, people who liked me send me referrals. I hired a Google Ads person. I hired a social media person because I hate social media. And I think, and I also did some SEO work. I up-leveled my website. So yes, paid marketing. I spend right now $8,000 a month on marketing. That figure would have made me want to vomit a few years ago, but I don't even think twice about it. It's just what I need to do. I mean, we have 15 people, 2 interns. I want them to be full. I want them to have abundance. I don't want them to be like looking with worry at their calendars, and I don't want to be like driving around town, like peddling myself to this, that, and the other person. So to me, it's a very worthwhile investment. And the third game changer was I hired an admin. I first started with a virtual assistant, who by the way is a real person. Whenever I used to hear the term virtual assistant, I thought it was a robot, but no, real human who works remotely.
Soon it will be a robot.
Soon it will be, we're not there yet. No, she's lovely. She was super helpful, and then I outgrew her, and then I hired a full-time, like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday employee who is amazing. And he's transformed my practice. He's also like very tech savvy, so yeah, highly recommend hiring a tech savvy person to do all the things you hate in life. So that was a game changer. All of these things cost a lot of money except for the first one, and they're all worth it to me. And they've all helped me grow because if I'm doing the thing, if I'm trying to do the if I don't have marketing, I can't grow. If I'm doing admin and getting lost in the weeds, definitely can't grow, and also I'd be miserable. Again, one of my core values is time freedom and time wealth. The profit margin in my field is not super high. I'm always looking for ways to widen it, but it's not high because I pay my therapists extremely well. So it's like, I think I could make more money if I scrimped on some of these things, but then I wouldn't have a practice that I'm proud of. I wouldn't have a team with high levels of satisfaction, and I wouldn't have time wealth. And time wealth is everything to me because I'm not getting any younger, and I have a puppy, and my kids still seem to need a lot. So, I've spoken a lot about strategy and just the things that I've done to accelerate my growth. But I've really wrestled, it's not hard to know what to do if you want to grow a business. Instagram is full of gurus who, even if you don't buy their $14,000 course to tell you how to up-level your business, you can usually cobble together enough free content. And I did business coaching, and I'm part of like clinic owner Facebook groups. So there's no shortage of good information out there, and I used all of it. I love learning. I love kind of stitching all the things together. But I had to wrestle very deeply with my mindset around being a business owner and growing, scaling, investing. That was where the real edges were that were really hard to overcome were. And I'll give you a few examples. I'm a therapist. I spent 20 years doing therapy, highly sensitive people, both me and all the people in my orbit. So always like, are we good? Is this okay with you? So I struggled a lot with just, with my team, first of all, like why would anybody want to work for me? Because you can make so much more money on your own. And then I got some coaching around that. where I realized how much value I'm providing for people. And it is a lot of value. It's not for everyone. I mean, in the 4 years, I guess, since I officially launched Open Space Counseling, because the first year was more just, experimenting with it. One person has left my team, and she left because she wanted to make more money. And I said to her, because she was kind of always coming after me, looking for more money, and I said, look, 2 things. I'm not running a nonprofit, and this is the commission split that is operationally sustainable. It reflects our true operating costs, and it reflects the value I provide. And 2, this model isn't for everyone. I'm very clear about that, and it might not be for you. It wouldn't have been for me. Honestly, I probably could have worked for somebody like me earlier on, and I didn't. It's not for everybody, and it was very releasing for me to know I don't have to be for everybody. Not everybody needs to love my model. Just enough people need to, so that I can have a sustainable clinic. And a lot of people do. I don't expect everybody is going to stay forever, but I'm very clear on providing tons of value, providing them with a very smooth, like not having to do admin, not having to hustle for new referrals, having a beautiful office to work out of. I'm clear on what we provide, excellent mentorship, lots of team culture stuff, but I'm also at this point very clear on what I don't provide. And so I'm finally at the point where I'm clear on what I don't provide without very much guilt, or even the need to explain. Like, I don't need to bring out a spreadsheet to show people, like, this is how good you have it. I don't need to do that. If they don't want to stay with me, they don't have to. So that's one mindset shift that was really pivotal for me. The other one was, like many business owners, I like to control things. I down to every email, down to every new client that comes in, if I didn't have to sleep, if I didn't have to feed myself, if I didn't have a family, I probably would still be on the phone with every new referral, making sure that they felt, like, your problems matter. I'm gonna find you the right person. I don't have the time to do that, so I passed it on to my admin, and it was very hard to do that initially. Why? Because nobody is gonna be as good as me. Nobody cares as much as I do. And in my mind, I thought, no, I have to have an admin who cares as much as I do, but that person doesn't exist. So it's sort of like parenting a bit, where you see your kids doing something. I have teenage daughters, so I see this a lot, where you see them doing something and you're like, oh, that is not the way I would do it, or I don't know about this. And it's like, have you ever tried to be like, I don't think that's the right, no, it doesn't go well, it never goes well. It goes a bit better with my admin because, they're on payroll, but I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that type of leader. So hire people you trust if you don't have to do that, and they're still not going to be perfect. And that's okay. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good enough. They just have to not screw up very often, and then be willing to learn when they do. Yeah, I had one more mindset shift, but I do need to check my notes for this, because I've reached the limits of my improvising here. Yes.
Very relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, right, yes. Well, I kind of touched on this, but the money part, huge mindset shift. And still is, honestly, I still struggle with this. To me, I didn't grow up with a lot of wealth. I didn't grow up with very many good role models of what business ownership looks like. I grew up with one parent who worked for the government, so toiling away until retirement. Another parent owned businesses but didn't do very well, so it just always felt very scary and risky to me. So it just was, I didn't have this sort of glibness that I see some other business owners where it's like, yeah, you do have to throw a lot of money around to like get a return on investment. No biggie, you know, that's never been my mindset. It's always felt like a very big deal. When I signed the lease on my clinic space in Kits, which is $5,200 a month, I actually had to pull the car over on my drive home. I actually thought I was gonna puke. I really did. I didn't think, oh, I've done the wrong thing. I just thought like that sort of imposter syndrome, like who am I to have committed to something like this? I am happy to say that I just signed a second lease. We're opening a new clinic space in North Van. And I didn't have that at all. I think I was like multitasking as I did it. It all took place, it was all electronic this time, and I was like on a Zoom call while I was doing it, and it was a completely different experience. It was very freeing. But I do still have to talk myself down from a ledge sometimes. Anytime, like, you know, expanding to North Van was a big deal. But essentially, I just invite myself over and over to trust myself. I don't, I do have a little bit of a tendency to fall for shiny objects, I'd say. But it's only really tripped me up once. I bought one of those $14,000 online courses, and it was okay, but it didn't change my life at all. So I've become very good at having a conversation with myself, but also knowing that my tendency is to hold back, not to be reckless. So yes, I stand before you today, somebody who is an unlikely business owner, an unlikely business scaler, but it still feels, and has felt actually from the beginning, really right. Like it never felt like, you know, despite the imposter moments, I felt like I was being very true to myself. If somebody asked me, I was out with friends the other night for dinner, and one of them said, why, like why would you choose to complicate your life? Your life was simple. My life was so much more simple when it was just me. And I felt like, I mean, the only answer I had was I had to do it. I felt like a magnet was pulling me into this other world where I could lead. You know, there was all these, I guess, we only have so many superpowers. Really, I don't have that many. I'm pretty mediocre at most things, but I am really good at a few things, and therapy is one of them. But I also felt like I have this potential to be a leader, and that's something I knew I'd be good at, but wasn't really able to exercise. And communicating is so much more a part of my work now than it was before, like communicating with referral sources, with the community, with my team, like creating content. And so I feel like it's been really good for my brain, and it's pushed my psyche in ways that it hadn't been pushed before. So yeah, that is my story. Thank you for listening.
One of your goals was to have more free time. Do you have more free time now?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's interesting. Like I do, but it's very cyclical. Like I do. I start each day walking my dog for about an hour, and then I work. And then my kids come home from, I work kind of off and on throughout the day. What I find is I have more control over my time, whereas I didn't before. I have it's a service-based industry, it's all appointments, and in order to make the type of money that I felt that I needed to make, and my income has never been incidental to my family, it's always been very essential. So in order to make the type of money I wanted to make, I had to stack my day full of clients. Whereas now, I have fluidity. So, I worked for 3 hours on yesterday, which is a Saturday morning. I would never have done that when it was just me in solo practice. But I have no problem doing that because it gives me just more flexibility during my work week, during the Monday to Friday week. So I do have more time. Yes.
Do you chat a little bit more about your marketing journey and,
Yeah.
and how you utilize, I guess, moving away from word of mouth to actually marketing spend every month, and how that process was, I guess, over time and gradually
Yeah.
as your business grew?
Yeah, sure. The first marketing endeavor I did was Google Ads.
Yes.
The reason for that is people often go to the internet to look for a therapist. Some people will ask their friends, but sometimes people don't want to ask their friends. And my industry, I mean, this is a whole other spiel, but my industry is highly, highly saturated in Vancouver. There's a saying, if you swing a bat, you'll hit a therapist in Vancouver. I would actually say if you swing a bat, you'll hit a Jewish therapist in Vancouver. Not a Jewish therapist. I try to hire as many as I can. Anyway, so I chose Google Ads over SEO because SEO is a long game. So SEO,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, is organic leads. So that's like if I punch into the computer like anxiety therapist Vancouver, I'm gonna get Google's gonna give me a page. The first few links are gonna be sponsored. Those are Google Ads. So that like when you pay for Google Ads, it's essentially an auction. You pay per impression share, and then every time someone actually clicks, you pay per click. For SEO, that's a little bit further down, but they also tend to have a bit more clout because they're organic leads. There's no sponsored. So in other words, it's not pay to play. I wanted to go that route, but because my industry is so saturated, it would take years to have good organic SEO, and I needed people right away. So
Yeah.
I started off with the cost per lead in my industry right now is over $100. So every time somebody clicks on my link, it costs me $100. So if you ever go looking for a therapist and you see my ad, don't click on it. Just joking. No, click on it, please do, and book a session. So I started out with like a really $500 ad spend. That got me nowhere. That got me 5 clients a month. I now spend $3,000 a month on Google ad spend, and another $500 for somebody else to manage it, because I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at, and that's not my zone of genius. So I did eventually add SEO. I was listening to a podcast about SEO, and the person who was interviewed on the podcast I just was so blown away by her. She just was talking about all these strategies I never heard of, and she just seemed so good. And then I found out she was local, based in Langley, and so I contacted her, and she does my SEO now. So I am playing the long game with that. I'm not expecting miracles, but it's very, Google Analytics are great. I've also become a huge metrics nerd, which I think if you want to own a business, especially in healthcare, you have to kind of become obsessed with data, which I am. So I can look on my Google Analytics and see this is working, this is not working, this is a good investment, this is a bad investment. And then I also have a bit of $1,000 a month of social media spend, which the jury's out. I think it's indirect. I don't think clients find me on Instagram, but a lot of health people follow me, and it's just good for us to know, for people to know what we're doing. I also started this program, like a signature 10-week online program as part of our clinic for Mom Rage, we said. It's for overwhelmed moms. You don't actually have to have rage. And we use Instagram a lot for that. So, yeah, does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Alan, thank you. I think we all got a lot of value. I think we should give another round of applause.
Okay.
For the chocolate?
For the Valentine's chocolate.
Diana Magalon.
Oh, did Diana
I don't
come?
think she
I don't
came.
think she came. Oh, another chance.
Wow.
Okay.
The talk was so relatable. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
William Wolf.
William wouldn't come either.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Okay, Susie
It's
lose.
so bad for these people. For
I
listening.
know, no chocolate.
Birdie's chocolate.
Oh, I just drew my name. I'm not.
Leave it up.
Karen Wiener.
But we're gonna try and wrap it up for
Okay.
5:30.
Yeah.
another 20 minutes, you're welcome to hang out another 20 minutes and eat some more of the food, please.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions that I didn't answer, feel free to.
That was amazing.
Yeah, Elena, I
it was
learned so
amazing.
much.
Yeah.
I think one of the takeaways I had was the amount of faith. And you mentioned the word trust
Yeah.
and faith. And I think it takes a tremendous amount of trust and faith to go out on your own and hire people and spend money, which is a huge mental shift that you had. Go out and invest in yourself, invest in your business, and have that faith that it's going to pay off.
And releasing
Yeah.
control. I heard that, Dave. I
Please,
heard that.
please hear that. Yeah, the control. I learned so much just hearing you speak today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is that
Thanks
all
for
we
having
were?
me.
Yeah,
No, it's a real
thank you
pleasure.
so much. And I guess our SEO is you guys. We're not allowed to advertise. Unfortunately, in the financial world, we're very restricted as to what we can do. So, you know, Alison and I would really appreciate you spread the word about these networking events. I think they're great for the Jewish community to bring us together as a group. And I really believe in what Alison and I are doing to help people when it comes to raising awareness around financial literacy. You know, I wasn't taught as a kid. And I think, Alana, you had mental struggles around money and letting go of
Huge,
that.
huge.
And I think everyone needs to learn this stuff. And the younger you start, the better. You know? Just a quick announcement around upcoming events on Sunday. Is that next weekend? We're going to do a very intimate group in this boardroom right here. And we're restricting this to maybe 6, 7 people.
Yeah, 8. You
Eight
can see
max.
everyone 8 will fit in there.
Yeah, we really want to make it really intimate, and we're going to go through the basics around the core essential things you need to know, core concepts around money. And then once you get through kind of that pre-class, it's almost like a qualification. The next class, it's a series. The next class, we're actually going to show you how to put together a financial plan. Very, very valuable stuff, and you can take that plan to anyone. And we're doing it for free. We're not charging. A lot of financial planners charge for this. We are giving it to the Jewish community. And then, of course, we have our next networking event on the 2nd. Then you guys going to add
Well,
Alison?
yeah, I got a couple things. So, help us spread the word. Bring a friend to the next networking event. Thank you to those who brought a guest. That's great. We want to grow this. We want to outgrow this space, right? And a quick community announcement on the next.
Oh, right. Forgot. Food
Yeah.
party.
Forum's coming up.
I like this graphic you did.
I can't read it. So for those that don't speak Hebrew, Purim party, 19 plus Saturday, March 8th. Where's our? Yes. Sit. Share.
Sure.
Purim
You want to come
party.
up?
Come on up, come on up.
Sure. Well, thank
So
you.
Rotam's is one of the organizers.
Yes, so you're all invited to our Purim party. I'm part of the Kibbutz Party Productions, and we organized 3 very successful parties in the past year at the Anza Club, and we wanted to go big for Purim, and extending the invitation. Sorry, it wasn't planned.
I know, it's very
didn't plan to-
spontaneous.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
What is this
So
venue?
sorry, yeah, it's initially the idea started out as celebrating Israeli music, and when we were young and went out to dance in a kibbutz pub. So it started out as something for the Israeli community, and now we're expanding to the Jewish community. But our advertising is still in Hebrew. It says Dancing in Purim. This is Kibbutz Party Production Presents, and this is Saturday, March 8th.
Nice.
And we have the QR code. You also
Yeah, I don't think, we can share it out. Yeah, I don't know if the QR code here for signing up, but put it on the WhatsApp chat. If anyone's not
Okay.
on the WhatsApp chat,
I'll put the
talk to
link
Michelle,
directly.
Yeah,
on
put the link to register. Yeah, thank
So
you.
you're all invited.
Yay.
It's gonna be fun.
Stay up late.
Anything else? Anything else there?
Yeah,
Oh.
this is the QR code.
Shit, we should have a your QR.
I know, we should. These are the financial literacy event and the next networking event, so please sign up early. We've got a few people signed up already, and we're gonna wrap it up now. Please, like Dave said.
Mingle a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Eat
exchange
some more.
contacts, eat, drink, and, okay. Everybody here, take home a goodie bag. It has a sampling of the juice truck. The juice truck fresh juice. So it should be consumed today because it is fresh pressed juices.
That's a business model I don't get. Little bottle of juice. So expensive.
So anyone who's trying to make juice probably knows. Yes, everyone gets a little bit. And the QR code, this QR code is in a bookmark in here as well. So
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Thank
yeah, mingle away.
you. Mingle and eat.
So you started, you're one of the founders. That's great. Yeah, what a great idea.
No, I think why I started, I'm sitting home, I'm getting ready to about the meetings going on. And there's so many of my friends that were being boycotted and were being all the anti-Semitism was starting to rise. And I was just literally like, Susan, I'm you know what, you want to boycott us because we are successful business people?
Right.
Support each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, well, okay, what are you going to do about it? Because you can't don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I started the WhatsApp group and I didn't expect it to go like it has. And I'm so grateful to Alexander for really being upon helping me because everything is so hard.
Yeah.
It's one thing to
And
start
time
with,
consuming, I'm sure.
Sorry?
And time consuming.
Absolutely, and time consuming. But you know, I did it because I was so passionate about sports. Do you know what I mean? Well,
Yeah.
why I did it. So I didn't mind putting the effort. I'm so grateful when people join and get other people to join. Because you know
Yeah,
what?
so there's hundreds on there now, no?
There's 370
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't keep track of the text. Like I can't, and yeah.
I'm not looking at it. But how bad? Thank you.
And what do you do? What's your...
Printing. So I reached the most right. I printed the
Oh,
calendars. How bad?
that-
And there were so many.
My husband's in that industry.
Really?
Yeah, his company is Pony Graphics. They're Pony Graphics. They're out in Pitt Meadows.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah,
it
I
was
mean,
related
it's,
to
he always hates the way I explain it. I explain it. They specialize in wide format printing, and their main clientele is like the movie industry. And I don't know if Translate and those ones are still there.
That's digital.
But it's well, they sell equipment and supplies that are used. So like on buses, you know, like the ads that go on buses, they sell the equipment, or they sell the printers that print that. So he doesn't do the actual art graphics, even though he should, because he's very artsy, and I keep telling him that's what he should do.
And I'm not taking for a lot of money on that.
Yeah, but their main thing is they sell.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
working with
Yeah.
somebody
Okay, cool. I'm really hard.
who's buying
Yeah,
a house and they want me
You
to
take a pen and
take a look at their
What's that?
pictures before they
Oh,
move.
yeah.
Which is, yeah, I think that would be a great connection to have. There's probably a lot of people who want things.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Myself, I've just been.
Oh, they're so pretty. They're so pretty. Wow.
And the colors are
Recently, I
blue,
was with
orange,
a
and pink
downtown
with that
school
ink.
called Patterson.
Yeah, funny.
I'm a lawyer, so this is good.
Oh, are you? So you're a lawyer?
For animals, it's a very, very, very niche. It's like I don't do corporate law.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
But in the school
How do you help the
renting,
animals?
the portables at the
It's
back.
well for both individuals and organizations. So for individuals,
She was looking at the
for individuals, it's for example, if someone lives in a condominium and they have an animal, like a dog or a cat, and then someone complains about the animal, and then the strata wants to kick the animal out.
remember, you
I
don't
help
have
people
any.
keep their animals.
Or
Pet custody is a big one now. So a couple of separate pet custody. So people.
It's not about that divide, is it?
It's huge now. So people fight over who gets the dog or cat. The way they fight over kids, they fight over their pets.
It's not bad.
I defend dogs all the time. So the dogs that get into trouble. And I sue government. And I sue government. So, Rebecca Brenner. I mean, there aren't many of us. I'm like, if you just search animal law lawyer, there's like a very small handful of us in Canada. But Atlanta's top because I'm really
I just told my wife
I'm
that
like,
we didn't have a very good
like when I
realtor.
quit, when I had like one of the 4 houses in the
We just rushed into
one of the
it.
and I don't like taking risks with I have an assistant.
Really nice. I really enjoyed that.
But the matter point, I'm so busy. That I would love to hire someone, but I also don't want the headache. Like I didn't go into law to be a business owner.
We can chat anytime, okay, on the group this weekend.
Well, that's what it is.
I just want to. I just want to try it. I just don't want to use
Find out what hummus this is. That's amazing.
You know,
There's cumin in it. More cumin.
That's really creamy. Somebody must have.
Yeah.
why did you take to work? I think I'm not sure which direction to go in. Maybe because you went through some class.
I know, it's just like, at the same time, I don't want to, like I do want to keep it, like what she was saying when her friends asked her, why do you want to complicate your life? Because I really didn't get into law to be a big law firm or to, I want to be the one doing the work. I want to
You don't have to, I mean, I have the same as a realtor. I keep thinking if I want to expand my business, I mean, gone are the days of being if I want to grow my business, I'm competing constantly with people who've got teams and big business models and internets, and I'm not good at that. I'm just not good at that at all. And when I go to spend my time doing that, even keeping up my keeping up my CRM, it's just like I don't want to do it. Yeah, that's a business. Okay. So this is the thing. So I don't want to just like, oh, in the CRM, which I never do. I should be keeping my database. I should be keeping that up to date. And I need to be doing that. So I'm like, I should hire an admin.
Have a wonderful
I'll have more time. That's how I grow my business. But I'll have pay someone else to do it. That should technically grow my business, but free up the time for me to do the stuff I love, and not be constantly in the back of my mind going, shit, I need to be keeping my database up. I should be doing some social marketing. So it's constantly on my mind, is why I joined the team for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But now that I'm back on my own, I'm like, I have to pay somebody to do this. Because I've always known, they say, do what you're good at and what you love, and pay somebody to do the
I
stuff
heard
you
that
don't.
too. When I
But
decided
it's the money part. It's like take that big gulp, and then people say one sale will cover it, and I'm like, yeah, but what if it doesn't? Like it's very scary. But I don't think it means you have to build a big business. I think it means that you can be more successful and have more
one
time.
step at a time.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be so overwhelming. It really doesn't, says my boss. One step at a time. You don't have something to be erect and
These are things that we've heard before.
it's a gamble,
But
but you make it a
is it still recording?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop it.